Okay, so this is a finial that I made a while back. It was a spare. I didn't finish it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up here. This is the spur center, and this is the lathe bearing in here. It goes around here and it spins on this end. This one here is the drive part, the spur end, and you got teeth here. You see that? And you got a pin in the middle that gives it live center right there. So what I do is I line these up with where the original one was. You can see where the teeth went in. Okay, so I'm going to hold it there, and then this is locked in place with the nut there. So I'm going to pull this back here, and I'm going to put it in that hole. So what I do then is I beat it in there, mostly so that these teeth bite, and I lock it down. That locks it in place. So now I know that there's a little bit of looseness there, so I'm going to hit it a little more. Okay. I don't want any looseness there. It's nice and tight. Okay, so that's safe. So then I've got a steady rest, which goes here, and I can use a 6-inch, 12-inch, or a 24-inch one. To run it across to be the rest that I put my tools on. So for this one here, this is pretty much done except for sanding, and then this top here, I have to finish up this top here so it looks like what I want it to look like. So what I think I'm going to do is curve this here, bring it down a little deeper up to here, and then just round it off instead of having a ball on the top. I think the ball is too high for that finial, so I'm just going to do a little round it off, and I can do that down to a certain point where it gets so thin that it'll break if I'm not careful. And then I just take it off and cut it off on a bandsaw, and then just sand.
Is that a sanding block?
Well, yes, it is. Handmade. Look at that. You always have to remember this is coming over the top cord through. See how much smoother it looks now. We put a little sanding on. Well, what I'll do is eventually, when I get it to the profile that I need, I'll get different sandpaper, finer grit sandpaper, and I'll sand it much finer. And I can use sandpaper to get into the grooves and stuff in here to make it look nice. See, there's a couple things I'll take down with a knife first, so that this looks a little better, and then I think I'll bring it up to about here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have to adjust this. I'm going to use my 12-inch steady rest. Now what you want to do is when you set this up, the exact center of this is, let's just use this as an example. I want to hit the exact center of this post, and I can see where the exact center is right now because that line right there. Okay, so I want this post to be down just about right there. That's perfect. So what I can do is lock it in place right there, and then lock it in place here. Oops, the other side. It locks it to the whole frame of the lathe.
We're here with Tom Henley at his wood shop, TC Woodworks, and he's going to be making a practice spindle on his lathe. So, do you want to tell us about your tools?
Well, I would be happy to. First of all, I have a gouge. It's a radius and it's scooped out. It's real sharp. And we use this on the steady rest. We rest this up and we hold it in the back with your other hand. And then you come at this thing really slowly when it's turning, because you only want to take off a little bit at a time. So the gouge will make a radius groove in here. It'll make a nice, smooth, dipped out dish in this wood. Okay, that's what that does. This one here is a parting tool. It's slanted down here. It comes to a point on both sides, but the important part is these top edges are very sharp. So when I want to cut this thing off here, I can start out here once it's rounded, and I can start going in at an angle, and it'll cut it as thin as I want. And I can come from another angle, and I can do that. And usually I'll leave the piece maybe about this thick coming out of the end, and then I use the parting tool to get it to be about this thick, and then I'll stop, because then the rest of it is getting on the veins of the turning apparatus here on the chuck. And then when I leave it on the lathe like that, so that when I take it off the lathe, I can take a saw and cut it off where it was made to be this thin, because I only got this much to cut through then, instead of the whole piece. And then the next one is, this is a round carbide tip, which I can adjust and circle. When it gets dull here, I can just loosen it up, turn it around where it's sharp, and tighten it up again. And those I really like. So this is the best tool, the round one, because not only it's longer and heavier, I get better leverage so that the wood won't come around and cause me to let it fly up like that, because I got so much pressure on the back arm here. I come at it nice and easily, and I take off just a little bit, just whatever the tip hits. Take off a little bit. I can show you here if you want to see. See that? Taking off that bumpy edge. Okay, let's see what we did. So we cut this down to kind of getting round. We can go rounder.
And you told me once that that round tool is less harmful to the wood.
Yes, because it only takes a little bit of wood off at one time. If I take the square one, well, it's almost square. If I take the square one, it's going to take off this much wood at one time, and that can pop these pieces of wood right out. I can show you it slowly. So now I got it kind of round, and it went up to there. It does it a lot faster, but it's more dangerous because it's taking off more wood at a time. So I want to take this down to round. You see, I'm using this edge of it also. Now if I want to make a nice scoop in that end, I'll use my round one, and I'll go in like this. might be wondering, how come this isn't vibrating? I got a steady rest on the back here, so this spindle is running on 3 different wheels, and it's forced the spindle to stay right in the middle while it's turning. Otherwise you go woo woo and the thing can break in the middle and fall off. Now the parting tool is, if I only want to be this long here, I want to cut this off here. I can also go and make it nice and straight. See, this bottom here that I'm doing is going to be the end of the spindle. So I cut it down to that much, and then it's real easy to take me a saw and just go zip and cut it off. So that's what that does. And one thing I do with sandpaper is I take off the steady rest and put it over here. That's because it's coming around towards me, and I want to put the sandpaper underneath, like this, so I can sand it. I don't want it getting stuck and pulling my fingers in or pushing the thing aside. So in here, and it's sharp all the way around, this little carbide disc. So when it gets dull here, I just loosen it up, turn it around a little bit, tighten it down again. So this thing will last a long time. Plus I have a carton of extra bits. And this one here is the square one, same thing. So only this one, I only have 4 sides. Once it gets dull, I have to get another one. They're cheaper to just buy new ones. This is what I normally do. I'll put this on, and not because it saves me from getting dusty or anything. It's leather, it's heavy duty. It's got pockets for my things that I need to use, like all my gauges and stuff like that. So what I want to do right now is I want to take this cap part. It's not radius the way I like it, and it's too thick here. I want it to come up to this point, and then I want to make a little bit of a radius that comes back into here, and basically the end of this will be right here. I'll just round it off and bring it up to the top right there. So I'm going to do that right now with the round one, because round ones do a really nice job. I forgot this. Because it protects me. It doesn't matter what comes up here at my face. Polycarbonate won't break, and it's easy to clean. So here we go. So now I have to go way in like this, which means I have a very long handle on my tool, which means I have a lot of power keeping this tool steady so it doesn't grip in and go up like this. I've got a lot of power with this leverage here. So I'm going to use that. Body language, right there. Body mechanics. See that? And I like to look at the contrasting color. So I can see the difference. This is the body language. Right there. Body mechanics. See that? Body mechanics. And I like to look at the contrasting color. So I can see the difference. Body language. Right there. Body mechanics. See that? And I like to look at the contrasting color. I got the shape that I need, and now all I gotta do is take my handsaw and pull saw and cut it off, and this is all gonna be perfect, and we're good to go. So, all I gotta do is go like this, boink, off she comes. Yeah, look nice.
What do you think, Donald?
It's pretty good.
Is it?
Awesome.
Think you could do it?
Finish up nice.
Think you could do one
Oh, yeah.
eventually?
Yeah, he can do it. Yeah, he can do it. We can straighten that stuff out later once it's done. Straight in. Once you go that line straight in, you're cutting it. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good drill from that. Perfect. I see you're hesitating. Do you want straight walls on there going in, or do you want it coming down and look like a V? Do you want a wider V or just that one? Oh, that'll work. And keep operating until you hit each side. this is the tool I use for, it's got 45-degree cutters on it, and it's sharpened up from the bottom to the middle. So you got a nice point on it. But what we want to do is use these edges, and we want to make them rounded off. That's why we use a flat, straight tool, and we can get in there and we can just rotate it. Just use your body language and rotate it a little bit, hanging on to it nice and easy, and we might be able to take out all of these tear outs here. Okay, give her a try.